Okay, my name is Kori Reine. Thank you for the introduction, Zach. My project is titled The UNRWA's Potential Role in Permanently Solving the Palestinian Refugee Crisis. Firstly, I'd like to start off with a sort of disclaimer. This issue is complex. It has a very long history. There are innumerable works written on it. And my presentation only covers a small aspect of the larger issue, and I have much more research to do to better understand this issue. So I'd like to give a little history of the land of Palestine. The Ottoman Empire was founded in 1453 with the fall of Constantinople. And Palestine was added into the Ottoman Empire in 1486, as shown here in the pink, which shows the expansion of the Ottoman Empire from 1482 to 1520. So Palestine remained in the Ottoman Empire into and throughout World War I. At the end of which, the Ottoman Empire fell, leaving the Allies to split up control of the land. They split up the Ottoman Empire into areas called mandates. Palestine was made into a mandate under direct British control. This was an exercise of Britain's remaining colonial power. And although Britain claimed that its goals in the mandate were to aid Palestine into becoming an independent state, in most colonial cases, that is not the actual goal. In 1917, Arthur Balfour, the Foreign Secretary of the British Wartime Cabinet, issued the Balfour Declaration, which began with, "His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people." With this, the British government promised the Jews a homeland in Palestine and that they would aid the Jews in creating that homeland. So with that, more Jews started immigrating into the land, but in 1917, there was an Arab majority. And the Arabs and Jews had clashing ideologies of what they wanted for the land. They both wanted an independent state. But the Palestinians wanted an Arab majority state, although they had no intention to deport any Jews that already lived there. And the Jews wanted a purely Jewish state. The Arabs' claim to the land was that they had been living there. Their homes were there, their families were there, and had been for centuries. The Jews felt that the Torah was their title deed to the land, that God had promised them the land of Palestine in the Bible. And these ideas for an independent state are mutually exclusive. They cannot coexist. But the Arabs and Jews had one other thing in common. They both were very unhappy with the British rule over Palestine. The Arabs were unhappy that the British were letting large numbers of Jews immigrate, and the Jews were unhappy that the British was putting limits on immigration. And this all culminated in 1948 with the Declaration of Independence by Israel. Palestinian refugees better know the year of 1948 as the year of Al-Nakba, or the catastrophe. It was in 1948 that 750,000 Palestinians were displaced as a result of the Arab-Israeli war that followed Israel's Declaration of Independence. And there was no returning home for these refugees. In the Abandoned Property Ordinance, the Israeli government declared that it now had jurisdiction or ownership of the land that the Palestinians had fled from in 1948. And soon after, on December 8th, 1949, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East was established, or better known as the UNRWA. The UNRWA was established with the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 302 that gave it the purpose of carrying out direct relief and works programs for Palestinian refugees. And in 2015, 5.25 million Palestinian refugees were registered with the UNRWA, and there are many more that are unregistered. The UNRWA has about 500,000 students in its school system today. It operates 137 primary health facilities. It offers vocational training, and it provides rations to those in need. About a third of its registered refugees live in one of the 58 camps that it operates. So why should the UNRWA have a role in this solution process? The UNRWA is the only institution that has been heavily involved in the region for the past 66 years. Therefore, it is the institution that best understands the issue. And this is the only institution that the Palestinians fully trust. In addition, the UNRWA has to make agreements with the host governments, the governments that host the refugees, such as Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, to continue its operations in their borders. So this means that the UNRWA already has experience negotiating with the governments in the region. In addition, the UNRWA already has a mechanism by which to register refugees, which is essential whenever the solution process is finished and we need to give out the benefits of that solution to the refugees. So what should the UNRWA contribute to the implementation of this solution? Well, one possibility is if an independent Palestinian state is decided to be made, the UNRWA could lay the infrastructural foundations for that government. In addition, the UNRWA can help scale the host government capacity to take on the financial burden of the UNRWA services, such as education and healthcare. The current governments do not pay for those services. It is strictly the UNRWA. So if the UNRWA were to be dissolved in a solution process, the governments must be able to take on that financial burden. And most importantly, I think that the UNRWA could, or maybe should, suggest a solution to this refugee crisis. The UNRWA, the UNRWA is the only institution that is incredibly familiar with this topic. And the UNRWA has the capabilities of communicating with Palestinian refugees and understanding how they feel about different solutions. So I think that the UNRWA can suggest a feasible and fair solution to this crisis. However, first step in the UNRWA having a role in the solution is to extend its mandate. Currently, the UNRWA only is allowed to provide services to the refugees. An appeal must be made to the United Nations General Assembly to extend its mandate to include solving the crisis. And I would like to conclude my presentation with this. The crisis has been going on for over 68 years now. And it will only end if there is a solution process that solves the refugee crisis. Until then, refugees will continue to suffer. I would like to thank Sergey, my mentor, Zach, my TA, and Dr. Lena Kim.